of your doors per se, you risk not being able to count the work that you did with that individual when they were under your roof. So the suggestion was made that why don't we sit down with the CBOs and ask them, what would it take for you to be able to utilize this tool to the maximum to get the maximum result for your participants that are coming through the door. So we started with program managers and directors and asked them, what do you think? How would you feel? Because this wasn't the first time San Francisco had done something like this. And we wanted to make sure that if we did it, that this time we did it right and that we had the right tools available for our folks to be able to get the best results. So we sat down with the managers. We went from the managers then to line staff and talked with them and said, what would you need in front of you to be able to give your participant, if they're looking for a job and they need a job yesterday, what would you need in front of you in order to be able to do that? So we got that information from them. And then we took it one more level. We went and actually talked to job seekers and asked them, if you sat down with your career coach, what information would you want that career coach to be able to give you so that one, you felt comfortable in the services that you were receiving, and then two, that you would come back and continue to seek services from this organization or through this system, and then three, do you feel that you would be able to get a job after all of this is done? So once we met with all of those groups, we sat in a room and we mapped out everything that we had gathered, and it was a very big chart. Very big. I think it was probably one of the largest I had ever worked on or had ever seen. But it gave us enough of a foundation to be able to say, okay, Launchpad, this is what we're looking to do, future state. How can you help us to get there? And then also, if we were to get there in this future state of 18 months, where do we need to divide to pilot this, work at it, see what's working, what's not, course correct, and then move on to the next phase. I think our saving grace was the idea around piloting and iterating. That saved us a lot of time, saved us a lot of money, and it got all of our community to participate in where we are right now.
All right, thank you, David.
Sure.
So I know we have another question still regarding collaboration. So we know, especially you, David, we're going through first again, that you mentioned that you had initially had a lot of hard times getting partners on board. You had a lot of pushback. So the main question here is, how did you get them on board? Can you talk about again some of those challenges that you had getting them on, and then finally, what did it take to really convince them?
Sure. Let me start with what it took to finally convince them. Goodwill Industries of San Francisco, San Mateo, and Marin counties is one of our largest partners in our workforce development system in the city of San Francisco. They were the biggest and the hardest to get on board with this project because they worked very hard to create partner relationships with employers. A lot of the big partners are a lot of the big employers such as Lowe's, Home Depot, Comcast, so on and so forth, were under their umbrella and they didn't want to lose those. In addition to that, they're also a big employer in the city of San Francisco with the warehouse that they have. They sold their building about 1.5 years ago, and that required them to lay off some folks, hire some more folks, and their new location. While we were in one of these planning meetings, it was suggested, why don't you put those jobs in the jobs portal? They listed the jobs in the jobs portal, and they got 3 times the amount of people applying for the jobs, screened for the jobs, and when they sat down with their recruiter, the recruiter said she had never in all of her career with Goodwill had seen folks that were so job ready and interview ready that had come through this cycle. Once Goodwill had this kind of under their belt and this success, the light bulb went on. They were the first ones at every meeting. They were the chief advocate of everyone in terms of the other CBOs that may have been dragging their feet or hadn't decided or just weren't sure, and became a huge champion of what we were trying to accomplish based off of that one incident.
All right, go Goodwill. Raphael, your turn, sir. So we know you said that it was a little bit easier for you guys. How did you convince your partners to move forward with this project and joining you? And so again, since you guys are still in the early stages, Can you foresee any maybe possible challenges with getting your partners on in the future?
Well, I was just being optimistic. There has been some challenges, even within the county itself. So, like I shared, we have 36 county departments, and over 12, at least 12 of them have workforce development services that they provide. And one of the biggest partners is TANF in WIOA in LA County. TANF represents a $3 billion department. So here we are, a $100+ million department trying to tell a $3 billion department, hey, WIOA says we have to partner and go in a certain direction. Do you think they're going to listen to us? So that was probably the hardest thing, is getting our own house in order first. Because if we're trying to bring the rest of the WDBs together, if we can't take care of our own house, then why would they follow? We were very fortunate to have leadership. Our chief deputy, Odo Solorzano, and my boss, Josie, I see her hiding in the back. And I just don't say this because she's here, but they had the vision and the leadership to really help us get through this process. Then also going back to that female majority board of supervisors, I think that really helped turn it around. So within our own house, we're getting all of our departments on the same system. We're still in the negotiations on what that looks like. As far as the way that they deliver services and the way that we deliver services. But we're really looking at everything strategically through sectors. So as they look to place their individuals in career training, job opportunities, they're looking to us for LMI data. They're looking to us for the local target hire job opportunities and all the other capital project opportunities, and also the business connections. Because we're not an entitlement program, and we don't necessarily offer social services. There's a different lens that employers approach us with, and then we have great partners like LAEDC and the other local EDCs that also connect us to business partners. So it's just a natural marriage of the services that they provide and the information that we need and that they need, that we can interact and get them on board and share through a system such as this.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. So I want to now switch the conversation to just a couple questions on the technology component. You guys mentioned that having those tools in place really help drive those positive outcomes that you're hoping for and that you're also experiencing. So just a quick question. We'll start with David, since you've already been in it. So what do you see as some of the challenges that current workforce technologies and current workforce technology offerings are really lacking? Why do you think that these exist, and where do you think that they need to go in the future to really help improve workforce development functions just all across the board?
I think the most important thing is that it has to be easy for job seekers to be able to put their information in, easy for employers to be able to put their job needs in, and then some way in which this information is matched or connected. One of the biggest challenges for us around this was a system that we had in the past. It asked for way too much information. I mean, it was basically taking an individual back to the kindergarten stage of their life, and folks would get frustrated and say, I'm just not going to do this, and just walk away. So we had a lot of profiles that were, halfway done, 1 or 2 pages done, but nothing, really complete. So when we sat down with the CBO folks and asked them, what will it take for your staff to be a champion behind this and to get their folks into the system, and then the other half to get participants, once they're in the system, to actually navigate their own way and use the system, they said make it easy. A few key questions: address, name, job title that they're looking for, minimum wage that they're looking to make, have that match against what the employer has, and then have the individual be able to screen, oh yeah, this is a match for me, oh this isn't something that this is something that I'm interested in, and I'd like to take it forward. If they could keep it that simple, early adoption is key, is going to happen.
All right. Raphael, you're getting involved with this technology project to start with, so we know you've had some experience with others. So same question to you, my friend. What are some of the challenges that you see with current workforce technology, and where do you think that they need to go in order to really improve workforce development efforts?
Yeah. Well, you would think, being LA County, that we'd be early adopters of technology on some aspects, but we don't have a unified CRM. We don't have a unified mechanism for communication other than email. And you have to go back and look at all your old email streams to figure out what happened a week ago and what didn't happen, so that's just not functional. So a lot of our issues are and continue to be is how do we streamline communication so that we could be that much more responsive to industry. Big challenges really are a lot of our partners still operate on paper. It's pretty sad if you think about it. But we want to look at technology to really get to a point, in particular with business engagement, where we have a tool where we can just go to a business. We're selling OJT, we're selling all these individuals that are job ready, and all I want is a signature from the employer, a signature from my team, and a signature from the participant, all done online. And eventually that's what we hope to get, and hopefully sooner than later. So there are a lot of challenges, including, avoiding that employer fatigue is the biggest one. And hopefully this helps us address that so that we could partner with each other when we see that somebody already has a door open with a particular employer. We follow behind them versus them trying to step over them to get to that employer. And we're very hopeful that this is what's going to be the answer.
All right, thank you, sir. So our last question, and then after this question, I'm going to turn it over to you guys, so you guys can ask us, basically whatever you want. So we'll start with David. So David, if you could leave our audience with 1 or 2 takeaways or suggestions on how they could help their area and their region become more demand-driven and to better improve collaboration with their partners, what would you suggest, or what would you leave them?
Conversations for clarity. Have clear conversations about what it is that you're trying to achieve, who those key stakeholders are to get to that goal, and then create a realistic timeline around it. Don't be afraid to stop, pause, ask the question, pilot, iterate, start all over if you need to. I think that buy-in from all aspects along the way are critical. You don't want your end user, be it your CBO, be it your employer, be it your job seeker, to feel that they're being pushed into doing something that they're not comfortable with, and that's the only way in which they can seek or get services from your community.
All right, thank you, David. Raphael, so last question for you, same question. So if you could leave the audience with a takeaway or 2 on suggestions they could use to become more demand-driven and to also better collaborate with their workforce partners, what would you suggest to them?
Well, for us, we're in a very unique situation because of what our region looks like. I think on this one key thing is leadership and being able to acknowledge when you should lead and when you should support. That's been really, really big and really key to this. Within our own county family, we talked about not pushing them. The beauty of being within the county family is that we could push them. And we will push them, and we are pushing them. It makes it that much easier. But that gets us to the point where we're keeping our house in order. And then if you want to, let me think of a nicer way to say this. If you want to play in our sandbox and take advantage of our dollars, then we should be on the same page. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in an absolutely positive way. Because we have resources, but that doesn't mean that we're going to push ourselves through and take the lead on everything, but it does mean that we're going to work hand in hand to make sure that everybody's successful, everybody takes advantage of the opportunities that as LA County we create for the same people that we're trying to serve, same constituents, same target populations, and in the end, if they fail as WDB partners to get them placed in employment, in the end, we're the ones that have to take care of them and restabilize them. So it's to our benefit that we work together.
All right. Thank you, guys. And that's the end of our panel discussion. Like I said, I wanted to turn it over to all of you now. And any questions that anybody has for everyone upstairs?
David, curious. We've talked about business fatigue, and you've been doing this a while, it sounds like. So can you elaborate, give us some examples? How has that really worked for you guys, especially to keep, so you don't have 4 people contacting the employer within 3 days, you know what I'm talking about?
Sure. Part of the conversations that we had with the CBO partners, the managers, and then the actual business services unit was how can we clearly define ownership of a relationship with the business. So we took into consideration a few things. One, location of the CBO and the business, years of the relationship with the CBO and the business, and then also the number of folks that were actually placed from that particular CBO by that business. There was some negotiation because folks want to hold on to those relationships. I went to high school with Johnny. I could call Johnny at any moment. Johnny will hire everybody that I want to hire. Then it was, okay, if you've got that great of a relationship with Johnny, then we're going to let you have that relationship. However, we may need you to partner with 3 or 4 other organizations to make something happen so that we can get a citywide job fair or a citywide employer event to get everyone the opportunity to get those jobs, not just your organization.
Okay, great question. Anybody else? Next questions? Go ahead.
How does this work with the state labor exchange? Do you feel like ultimately this will replace Cal jobs in the city? Sorry, maybe a little.
That's okay, no, that's the million, yeah,
Yeah.
to be honest, that's the $1 million question, and I don't think it's a replacement of Cal Jobs, but it might be a merger with Cal Jobs. And the hope is that if a city such as San Francisco or Los Angeles are all on one system,